Shalom. Allah start off by giving our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone. Salutations to the whole fillet that's pushing this truth across four corners of the earth, our faith, truth, and sincerity. This I'm a wonder by back again that's sitting. This we're going to about, in these times, how the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai is gonna protect his elect, you know, from these times, that we're in, the times of trouble, the tribulations, the great tribulation, the times of, great troubles, the times that we're in now going forward, when things really get, it's gonna get out of, get real crazy out here, because right now, like I say, still in this grace period, still. Things are not too wild, but things are going on, but it's not too wild and crazy. But it's going to get there, Because once the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai, the grace period, he takes away the great grace period, and then, he takes away his word, it's over with, all hell and then chaos gonna break loose here in America, Babylon the Great. But when those times come, when it gets really bad, the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua is gonna protect his elect, from the the evils, the bad times, the times of Jacob's trouble, all hell breaking loose and so forth in America, Babylon the Great, So I'm getting to it. Is on Psalms 91 and 10. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come now that are dwelling. So no evil, like I said, it's not gonna come upon, the elect of the so-called Negro, Latino natives, which are the Israelites. But 2/3 Israelites, they're gonna have to deal with the bad times. They're gonna have to deal with the wrath and judgments of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua in these times. But the elect, it's not gonna be exempt. The elect gonna be exempt from the wrath and judgments of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua in these times. They ain't gonna have to deal with the plagues, that the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua has, in store, for America, Babylon the Great, because the plagues that gonna come upon this place, it's gonna be horrific, you gonna know there's a higher power. You start seeing, people out here getting put to death in horrific fashion, but the elect, gonna be okay. The elect of Israel, Lord Yahushua gonna have mercy on them. Hopefully I'm probably right your number, to escape the wrath of judgment of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua. Because you want that hedge of protection by the Lord Yahushua, by the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua in these times. Because that's the only one. That's Yahushua is the one that could deliver you. You got people out here, God, whatever may be, saying that you got to save yourself or whatever, or people just say that in general. You got to save yourself, whatever. You can't save yourself. A power, something that's more powerful than you, can save you out of a situation that you can't see yourself out of. Getting out of. Like I say, man, folks be talking and they don't read the Bible, or they don't believe. They don't read the stories of the Bible. Like I say with Daniel and the lion's den. You know what I'm saying? The Most High, I say Yahweh delivered Daniel out of that situation. From getting eaten by the lions. The Most High Yahweh was with Daniel. He protected Daniel for that, from getting eaten by the lions. The lion's den. And then I said Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. The three holy children in the fiery furnace. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua was in that, in the midst, protecting them, in that, So like I say, and there's other stories as well of men, Lord prophets, that was, you know, uh, believe in the Lord, believe in the Lord Yahweh Bahasham Shah, and got delivered. I say Peter, Paul, and the other disciples as well, got delivered out of situations that, it was dire. It was a dire situation. But the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shah was Yahweh Bashem Shah was with those men, with the disciples, the men of the Lord that believe men of the Lord that believe in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shah, Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, not bending down to the image, of Nebuchadnezzar, the statue, right? There's gonna be men like that in these times, that mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip when it be mandatory. You're gonna have men, spirit, gonna be spirit on not to take it, and they're gonna be okay. I said, Lord Yahshua gonna make sure the elect ain't gonna our temptation ain't gonna they gonna get through that. Lord Yahshua gonna make sure his elect men, those that believe in Lord Yahshua gonna be, the elect gonna be okay. Lord Yahshua gonna make sure his elect, protected and ain't got ain't got to deal with that. Cause like I said, Lord, the elect is built different. Within in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shah. You're gonna have the elect have a different spirit on them compared to the rest of Israelites. The rest of the 2/3 Israelites, they got the ways of this world. They believe in what the so-called white man Esau might tell them or see, whatever, right? The carnality of things. But the elect of the Israelites, so-called Negro Latino natives, are spiritual. They have more of a spiritual, insight, or with them, the spirit is different within the elect because they of the Lord Yahweh Shai. The Yahweh Shai know who his elect is, and the Lord Yahweh Shai is going to protect his elect, and the elect gonna be taken care of in these times going forward. But in this verse, we'll go with the next chapter. Job 5:19. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, in 7 that shall no evil touch thee. So with 6 troubles, so like through all the troubles, like I say the time of Jacob's trouble, the great tribulations that that we are we in the beginnings, sorrows, but it's gonna get worse. But the times that things gonna get worse or whatever it may be, Lord Yahweh Shai, he's not gonna let nothing, the Lord Yahweh Shai gonna deliver his elect out of those troubles. And 7, no evil, no bad times, nothing is gonna touch the elect. The elect gonna be okay. Like I said, me myself first, hopefully I'm probably righteous number. I fear. I have fear in Lord Yahweh Shai. I just hope that Lord Yahweh Shai have mercy upon me. And those that believe in Lord Yahweh Shai and truly believe and fear. Okay, that boils down to really having fear in the Lord Yahweh Shai. And that you hope for that mercy and from the Lord Yahweh Shai. To be delivered by the Lord Yahweh Shai, in these times going forward, man, because that's what it's about. Because if you're not all that righteous number, you're just gonna be, like I say, destroyed. Taken by the plagues, the pestilence. You got this the Hunter virus that's going. We'll see how how that goes if that intensifies. But everything Yahweh Shai is in full control of what happens in situations because the so-called white man Esau Edomite doubles, these elites, whether Bill Gates, his fucking that motherfucker right there, boy, he got to get dealt with. But Bill Gates, whoever, right, that with these wicked plans, agendas that they pushing out there, but hey, the Lord Yahweh Shai is in control, man, and I say, Esau, Edomite doubles, Lord Yahushua is not gonna let no plague or pestilence or whatever the Edomite devils, try to, come against the the elect, of the Israelites. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna whatever the Edomite devils, try to come at the men of the Lord with, whatever, it's not gonna prevail. So nothing's gonna touch the elect, because the Lord Yahweh Shai is gonna protect the elect in these times. And as we go forward, in the rest of this time of the so-called white man Esau and my devil rulership. But let me see. Go to Job 5:20. In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. So in famine, so like I say, the elect gonna be taken care of. Gonna be fed by the Lord Yahushua, gonna be clothed, and so we're gonna be okay. The elect gonna be okay, if you're a part of righteous number. Because if you're getting out of situations that you don't see yourself getting out in, that's the Lord Yahweh Yahushua doing that. He's having mercy, from you escaping that famine. You ain't gotta die of starvation. Food coming your way somehow, some way. A raven, right? A raven coming to feed you. In war, in the power of the sword, all hell breaking loose out here, whatever it may be, martial law troops coming through the streets, or whatever it may be, right? It's not gonna touch you. Bullets flying or whatever it may be, it ain't hitting you. Somebody trying to come at you, try to kill you, ain't gonna work. So and like I said, the elect thing, the elect will not have to experience it. The elect will not have to experience the second death, which is that fire by the thermonuclear missiles, or the laser beams with the chariots, so-called UFOs. We'll go from there to Job 5:21. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. So the elect gonna be, the Lord Yahweh is gonna protect the elect. Be hid, from the, the Edomite devils, spewing out lies or any propaganda lies that's being pushed out there about the men of the Lord. That's not gonna work, and the elect are not gonna be afraid of destruction when it cometh, because like I said, Lord Yahweh is gonna deliver you out of that destruction if you're a part of righteous number, I'm gonna go to Job. I didn't want to make it too long, so I'm gonna go to Job 5:22. I'm gonna end off of Job 5:22. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the field. So at destruction and famine, we're gonna laugh. The elect gonna laugh. Hopefully I'm probably right, but the elect gonna laugh at the destruction and famine of this place, America, Babylon Great. Those that came against the Lord, those that mocked the scoff and laugh at the men of the Lord, gonna laugh at it, and they're not gonna be afraid of the beasts of the earth, because the animals and so forth of the field gonna be, in peace with us, or protecting us, from whoever trying to come against us. You might have, situation where a lion or bear or whatever it may be, somebody try to do something to you, they're gonna attack them, and so forth, or other creatures, gonna protect, because cause then they gonna know who you is. They're like, oh no, that's the Lord, that's the Lord's right there. No, that's Yahweh Shai's right there. No, get that motherfucker over there. Excuse my language, but that's how I gonna be, But I didn't want to make this long, so I just want to go into that, But hey, that's what it is, man. Me, myself, and those that believe in the Lord Yahweh Shai, hopefully the Lord Yahweh Shai have mercy, man, to have the hedge of protection these times going forward, because gonna need it, man. Gonna need your Lord Yahweh Shai to have your back in these times going forward. And I'm just hoping that, I'm part of righteous number, to have that mercy and deliverance about Lord Yahweh Shai. So with that, I didn't want to make it too long. Hope this edify. So again, like our praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, to the apostles, elders, to the sister brothers, to the few Akwaf sisters, the dual